Hello everyone, welcome back to Anmoll Astrology channel. Now today's video will be about how to predict about Saturn in your chart. So while I was posting Saturn through the houses, many of people did write under those or did email me about that's how does Saturn behave in a particular sign or how to judge the complete placement. Saturn in a house is just a very fundamental placement. It may or may not be completely true for each and every one. So that's why we need to understand how do we judge a placement. So we are going to talk about a lot of things. This has a lot many steps. Like first you need to know how to predict about a planet just by its placement, then by its aspects, then by its conjunctions, right? So first of all, in this video, or you can say in this series, what I shall include is I'll take planets. I'll start from Saturn, then I'll go through all the other planets, and I'll tell you how you are going to judge the placement. This is not going to be predictive, but this is going to be more of a learning experience. Okay, so I'll just quickly share my screen. Okay, so this is a random chart, right? So now we are going to learn that how we are going to judge Saturn's placement and plus its aspects in a chart. Okay, we won't talk about conjunctions right now because conjunctions with if I add so much information in one video, that is going to be a little bit over for an individual, and it can be somewhat people will not be able to understand it completely. So we'll just talk about the placement, and we'll just talk about the aspects of that. How do you judge the aspects of one planet? Okay, like suppose for example Saturn is in the eighth house for a person. Okay, we'll just put Saturn here. I'm really sorry, I didn't have my uh, uh, drawing pad today, so I have to use the cursor only so as to make this. So please bear with me. Okay, so Saturn in the eighth house. Now, how do you judge it? I did posted um, a post on the community page about how Saturn behaves in the eighth house. What can be the predictions for Saturn in the eighth house? Now, what you need to understand is that just take it as a Kal Purush Kundli. Supposingly, this is number one, and this is Aries. Okay, this is Aries ascendant because this is a Kal Purush Kundli. You can be another ascendant. You can be a Cancer ascendant, Capricorn ascendant, Gemini ascendant. You can be any ascendant. But let's just assume before any other ascendant, it's the domain of Scorpio, originally in the eighth house, because we'll take it to be the Kal Purush Kundali. Okay, so now just imagine how Saturn is going to behave in the sign of Scorpio, in the eighth house. Whatever traits you know about the eighth house, whatever you know about Saturn, like Saturn is about discipline, Saturn is about organization, Saturn is about karma, it's about your actions, it's about your practicality, right? It's about which area in your life needs to be organized. Okay, so whatever it is about, just connected with the eighth house. So here we'll just say that this person is very much into making establishing good assets in life, but that happens over time. With Saturn, one thing you need to understand is not just Saturn, with Ketu, with Rahu, these planets, you need to understand that what happens. First of all, actually, all the malefic planets, first, they are going to give you some malefic results, and then they are going to establish their significance. That means Saturn in the eighth house, first, it is going to make you a spendthrift. It is going to make you make you a person who doesn't care about establishing some assets of their own, doesn't that this person is not at all organized towards their in-laws, towards their secrets, towards their you can say all the eighth house matters, towards their inheritance and all of that. These people learn a lot of practical lessons through it, and when they are going to learn it, there are some ages by the BCP technique or by Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, or Mahadasha activation. Suppose Saturn Antardasha comes in, or Saturn Mahadasha comes in, okay, or Saturn Pratyantardasha comes in, or Saturn comes here by transit, or Jupiter comes here by transit, or Rahu Ketu comes here by transit. So, whenever this eighth house or the placement of Saturn is going to get activated, then is the time that this person is going to experience that harsh lessons related to Saturn. And then suddenly, they not suddenly actually, by going through the obstacles, they are going to become a person which is going to reflect the traits of Saturn in the eighth house. That's why we say Saturn in the eighth house, this person gets a very orthodox in-laws, and their relationship with the in-laws is not good over the period of time, and that actually develops over the period of time till the age of almost 36. They don't have the best of the relationship, they have a distant relationship, and by going through their obstacles in life with their in-laws, with their personal life, they develop a strong bond with the in-laws and with their own family as well. Okay, so I hope you guys are understanding that there's a story that forms with each and every placement. So for this person, you need to be very practical with the predictions of astrology. Just see at which stage of their age is this person. Like, suppose if we are predicting for a 20-year-old, and you suddenly start saying that this person is very much about, having stability in life, having fixed assets in life, this person will, laugh on your prediction. They'll say, I'm nothing like that. I just want to spend, and I just hardly save any money, you know. But if this person is suppose 30 plus, 40 plus, then you can tell them that you have been this kind of a person, and then you suddenly changed into this person because of the obstacles you have faced. So as to see what obstacles they have faced, you can just go within 2 to 3 years back, and you can see whichever transit they have been had through their eighth house. Through that, you'll know that what kind of planet activated that struggle, and you'll know a lot of information about it. Okay, so now coming back to this, you are going to judge Saturn being in the sign of Scorpio. That means this person is very much about hidden knowledge. They are going to learn a lot of secret knowledge in their life, right? And they are going to have some karma related to the family and related to the inheritance and also related to the in-laws, right? After this, you need to see which ascendant the person has. Like, now suppose if a person is a Cancer ascendant, so this turns out to be, it is not Scorpio, then it is the sign of Aquarius. Okay, so now you need to judge that how Saturn behaves in the sign of Aquarius. That will be very similar to how Saturn behaves in the 11th house. So what you have to do is, you had the predictions through Saturn in the 8th house. Now you're going to add on the predictions of how Saturn is going to behave in Aquarius. Always remember, it's 1 plus 1. It's never either or. Now you don't have to say that, oh, it actually behaves like that in Scorpio, now it might behave differently in Aquarius, so the prediction might change. No, it's 1 plus 1. Just combine them. Okay, now we'll talk about the aspects, right? So while talking about the aspects, it is very important to firstly know the Mool Trikon signs of each and every planet, because that is when you'll understand a lot of things about aspects. especially when it's Saturn. Now, how? That I'll tell you. Okay, now assume we know what is the Multrikon sign for Saturn. It's Aquarius. So suppose Saturn is in Aquarius. Now we are not thinking about whichever ascendant it is. I have already been through the ascendant of Cancer. That was just an example that has ended now. Now we'll just assume that we have Saturn in the 8th house without any ascendant. We are not going to consider ascendant right now, right? Just take Saturn to be in the sign of Aquarius, right? Now start writing the other signs. Okay. I hope this is a little bit clear to everyone, because I'm finding it a little bit difficult writing it with the cursor. Okay. So this is actually all we need. We don't need all the planets. So it is just that I just took Aquarius to be in the 8th house. That's why it turned out again to be a Cancer ascendant. Now, what will happen? Now you need to see that third aspect of what aspects do we have for Saturn? It's 3. Okay. It's 7 and it's 10. So now judge it like this. The third aspect of Saturn. Wherever Saturn is, it's invisibly the domain of Aquarius, because Saturn's office sign or Mool Trikon sign is Aquarius. Third from it is always and always Aries. It can be some other ascendant. Supposingly, this is a Leo ascendant. Of course, Saturn is going to be in the sign of Pisces, but still, this is something invisible. You need to figure it out. Just ignore Pisces for some while so that you can get more predictions. This is a way that I'm telling you so that you can get more predictions. You can add on so many predictions. Okay. So Saturn, assume that Saturn is in Aquarius. Third from it is the debilitated sign for Saturn. So now you know that why the third aspect of Saturn is the most crucial one, because it is actually the debilitated state of Saturn. That's why third from itself, Saturn is going to give you debilitated results. And since it's the third aspect, it's the originally third house, that means you have to make a lot of efforts towards this house. So for a person who has Saturn in the 8th house has to make a lot of efforts towards their career, towards their public image. Generally, they tend to have a destroyed public image, or somehow something happens in their life because of which their public image gets ruined at certain ages. It can be, again, by BCP technique, you can find out the ages, or you can find out it about, through Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, or by transit. So whenever a person is going through, suppose, any of the transits through the 8th house or through the 10th house, you know that this person is going to go through a situation where they are going to ruin their image, and they are going to put a lot of efforts towards that area. And since third house is also about communication, and since this is the debilitated house for Saturn in the 8th house, that means that the person would hardly communicate nicely with the government, with the society. They have a very rift style or very unappealing style of communication with this. Okay, so all the third house matters. What I did is I took the traits of the third house originally, and I took the negative aspects of it and put it in the 10th house. That's all. Simple. Okay, now 7th from itself. Seventh from each planet, except you can say moon, is the not actually completely. We'll talk about moon also when we'll come to that. But seventh from Saturn is the place where you get support. Why? Because seventh from Saturn is the sign of Leo. And what is Leo? Purva Punya Bhava, your past life good deeds. That's why whatever Saturn, so suppose a person has eighth house Saturn, they might not have the best of the relationship with their own family in the beginning, but with time, their family is going to be the one who is going to support them in the long run. Okay, and because of that, why is that so? Because they are getting the good karma, they are getting the fruits of their good deeds that they have done in the past. So seventh from it, you can just assume that there are going to be more traits of Leo. So if suppose a person has Saturn in the third house, okay, so we are going to take Aquarius here. That means this person's father is going to behave a lot like a Leo personality. Very bold, very dashing, or have a huge heart, very helpful about other people, always want to help people, but also wants respect, get offended very easily. But these people are going to get the support from the father when in need. Although seventh from Saturn is where you get your criticism also, but when you need the support, you're going to get that support also. And that happens with the placement of Saturn also, because that is the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is about the mass support for a person, right? Now, the last aspect turns out to be in the fifth house. Okay, so there we have the sign of Scorpio. Why the 10th aspect of Saturn is karmic? Now you know the reason why it is karmic, because it is the sign of Scorpio that falls 10th from the Saturn if we take Saturn to be in its Mool Trikon sign. Okay, so that's why 10th from itself, there's some karma or there's some unperformed action that Saturn has to make there. So again, whatever Saturn does in Scorpio, you can simply predict like that. That means for 8th house Saturn people have to pay a lot of karma through their children. These people have to be involved. They are actually forced to be very much involved with their children, and they are actually extremely sensitive towards their children because it is the sign of Scorpio, and they have to work really hard towards their children. They have to perform a lot of karma and a lot of actions towards that house. So this is going to be the basic thing about Saturn, right? Now what you'll do is, now you'll see which ascendant you are predicting for. Suppose it is an Aquarius ascendant itself. Okay, I'll just put in all the signs. Okay, this can be a little confusing, but I would ask you to go step by step similarly that I used. Okay, so suppose you get a chart where you get Saturn in the 8th house in the sign of Virgo for some individual. How you are going to predict for that individual, that is the question. So now you made all of these predictions by going step by step. Now the step would be that you have Saturn in the sign of Virgo. Predict whatever you know with Saturn in the sign of Virgo. So that means this person's in-laws are going to be very service oriented. People who are very good with money matters always trying to negotiate, always trying to sell something and then getting money. Like, Saturn in Virgo is like these people, suppose they have something just lying down there, some second-hand objects they have, they'll just sell it and they'll buy something new. So they are very negotiating, but rather than getting their own money out, they'll try to move money here and there so as to fulfill their purposes. So they are very business minded kind of a people. So that these people are like that. They get in-laws like that, and then suddenly, not suddenly, like over the time. I don't know why I'm saying suddenly again and again. So over the time, these people are going to develop into these personalities, right? So now you'll see that their seventh aspect is actually the sign of Pisces. So they are a little bit oblivion about the family. They are very much connected on a devoted level to the family. They feel oblivion about how they should bear with the finances at first, but through their interaction with the in-laws or after they get married, because eighth house is also about the joint assets of the of you and your spouse. After that, they obtain that knowledge that these people are quite philanthropist. When it's about helping someone in need, they are willing to help that person, and they are going to get a lot of support from the family, but still they are going to be very casual about it, about that support from the family. Okay, now the 10th aspect is in the third house, sorry, fifth house. You did know it was about Scorpio. You did make the prediction. Plus, now you'll add more predictions. And what will that be? That Saturn in the fifth house, that is the sign of Gemini. That means that you as a person has to be very much involved within the skills and activities of your child. So that means that you are mostly concerned, or most of your time is consumed between communicating with your child. There can be some communicating issues within the beginning of your interaction with your child, but with time you'll just become friends with them, you'll go on sports with them, you'll try to enhance their skills, you'll always be concerned about how well they are doing in their life. You'll take them to different classes, different different learnings, experiences, all that Gemini does. Okay, so that's how you add on the predictions for Saturn. Now, there's one more thing that I personally use as an astrologer, because I learned this technique from my mentor, Kapil Raj, right? But that I might not include in this video. That's like secret aspects of a planet. For that, I will make another videos while I'll go in the series of conjunction, then secret aspects, because I think if I add it here, it is going to be a lot for you people. Okay, so this is how you predict for Saturn when it's about the placement and when it's about the aspects. Okay, I am not telling you the predictions out here. I did take an example and told you how the predictions are added up, but now you'll be, just by learning this, just go through this video over and over again and try applying it on different charts, because that way what will happen, that you guys will be very, very comfortable with with making your own predictions. Because you know what happens, that when we are predicting in astrology, there is a lot of information about a single placement, and it's very hard to learn it all or memorize it all. So the best way is that you understand how the predictions are formed or how the predictions are made. Because while I was learning astrology, I had to go over one video of my mentor again and again, and still I was blank, and still I couldn't understand that what he's saying, how do I memorize it? So then I just understood that, rather than memorizing it, why don't I understand how these predictions are being made? How I can make my own predictions. And that worked out amazing and that worked out beautifully. So try to do this with astrology. If you are a learner of astrology, or if you just want to know about your chart or charts of your closed ones, just use this technique and you'll have a lot of information. You can easily make 10 to 15 predictions just by one placement. Okay, guys, so I hope this was helpful. If you guys are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And that's what everybody says, right? So don't forget to subscribe. And if you guys would like to have your personal consultations from me, you can check out the link below, www.anmollastrology.com. And under the consultation section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. And under the unique reading section, you can book a unique reading for you, like nakshatras or tribhagi analysis or spiritual progress, right? And apart from this, if you want to go for course of astrology, then you can there's a section of courses under my website. There you can use the contact form so as to contact me and get the framework. But right now I'm just planning, because I am not taking one-on-one classes for some time now. So that's why most probably I'll reduce the prices of the course by the beginning of March or the second week of March. I'll just slash the prices to very low, and I'll provide the video sessions to people of the two courses that I have. One is Vedic Astrology Foundational course, and the other one is Prashna course. My thing is that I want people to learn, because it is very important to know about the basics. After listening to this video, you might have understood that even though you have learned a lot of astrology, but still there is some sort of loopholes with the basics of astrology. So that's why I want you guys to learn that. I'll quickly come up with that. You can actually register on my website. You can just fill in that form, and as soon as I come up with that discounted price, I'm going to drop an email. That is going to be an automated email from my website. I'm going to drop that, and you guys will know about that when I am launching those courses at a discounted price. Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next video with another planet and the similar theme. Okay, bye bye. Take care. All the very best.